Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis. I'm Dave, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Jamie, and my pronouns are piss and vinegar.
I'm Rob, mine are he and him.
And I'm Alistair, my pronouns are also he and him.
We found Jamie.
Yeah.
I've come back from the woods and I've powered up. Let's fucking go on. I need to hear what's happened in the week I wasn't here.
Alright, how about we start with some fucking
awful.
AI bullshit to get you off in the right mood?
Get off the
To do what now?
Bastard, never be at it again.
Anyway, so two very little claim, I suppose. OpenAI released its new version of its Sora video generator. This is a bit from the Wall Street Journal. And it had some interesting ideas on how to deal with, the issue of all these video generators essentially being used to make pornography of your favorite cartoons. And that was essentially...
Are they leaning into it?
Yes, essentially. Quote from the Wall Street Journal, that creates videos featuring copyright material unless copyright holders opt out of having their work appear. So basically what they did is they told every major studio, hey, we're just going to steal all your shit. But, don't worry about it because, again, from the article, OpenAI began alerting talent agencies and studios about the forthcoming product and its opt-out process over the last week and plans to release the new version in the coming days, people said. So essentially what they did is they went to all the Hollywood studios and said, hey, we're just going to steal your shit. What are you going to do about it?
Didn't they recently also tell those same people to just go fuck themselves? Like, with regards
Yes, they did.
Opt out? Yeah,
So all that happened exactly a week ago on September 30, and basically what they were doing is, look, we're doing massive IP theft, and if you don't like it, please click this link for like an opt-out process. But on the other hand, even if you did click the link, OpenAI already said, well, we won't accept like a blanket opt-out of like all your works or all the works pertaining to one character, but you have to like specify bits that you don't want people to use. So like Disney could say none of our property. It's like they'd have to like specify not these few minutes from, I don't know, Pinocchio or something.
Fucking amazing.
It is. I have to imagine the way that they've done this is by doing that fucking thing where you try and click the X on a pop-up and it like waggles around the screen. But at the same time, it is extremely funny that they've done this and just not given a fuck. And then I really, really look forward to the like Disney branded Ion cannon personally like annihilating Sam Altman.
Yeah, the rods from Walt.
An incredible legal defense to just, you know what I mean? Just like go, well, you weren't specific enough. Do you know what I mean? Like instructions unclear.
They had an even better defense. Law. This is from Jason Kwon, their chief strategy officer at OpenAI. Our general approach has been to treat likeness and copyright distinctly.
Oh man,
Sweating profusely, looking directly down the camera. Different things are different.
So yeah, basically, when you say he's the head of strategy, he's good at Command and Conquer or something. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, he wins all the 15-minute no-rush games. It's incredible. So, yeah, of course, they made some vague promises that this new version of Sora wouldn't, like, generate images of recognizable figures without, prior permission. But, of course, on the day that it came out, everybody tried it. And, yeah, like, you could just reproduce South Park, King of the Hill, like, a ton of copyrighted images, essentially. And bear in mind, I don't really give much of a shit about, like, the copyright attached to fucking Mickey Mouse. But, it's still like it's an interesting strategy. But this was all on like I say, this all happened on September 30th and the days thereafter. On October 4th, 4 days later, Sam Altman wrote a new blog stating that copyright holders, would be getting more granular control over the generation of characters, similar to an opt-in model for likeness with additional controls.
Was that post written with AI, do you think?
Probably, but essentially what they're saying is, yeah, we'll, that person, like that policy of, we'll just do it and like make us, why don't you try and stop us? 4 days later, he wrote a blog post that said, oh, they stopped us. Yeah, so like as of today, you cannot make like videos that feature copyrighted or well-known characters because OpenAI just simply stops you, like it just prompts you. So basically what that means is they could have like installed this in advance and like not pissed everybody off, but they just decided to fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
I saw someone did a fucking prompt hack or whatever you want to call it, where you could still generate videos of like
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, copyrighted materials and like real human beings and stuff like that. It's because this stuff is like inherently unlockdownable.
Yeah, instead of like, you know what I mean, you just put in like unsettling sex pest instead of or something, and you get the same.
I like the term prompt hack because every time I hear it, it reminds me of those like constant Instagram fucking posts that I see, which is like, this guy discovered the one prompt you need to use to make ChatGPT work perfectly, and it's like, why doesn't it just work perfectly? Yeah. Why is there a set of magic words and this is a big deal? Have you not discovered that this is shit? Stop trying to big this up, please.
The prompt it's like a shit genie.
The prompt hack is when I get into the Gibson at 9:01 a.m.
So yeah, like as it turns out, even though Sam Altman was bragging in his blog post about how so many copyright owners were secretly super excited about how their characters could be used as, and this is a line from his blog, interactive fan fiction.
That is not a good sequence of words.
Yeah.
Please do not touch the fiction, or you'll be asked to leave.
Yeah. He then went on to add, in particular, we'd like to acknowledge the remarkable creative output of Japan. We are struck between how deep the connection between users and Japanese content is, i.e. we make the weebs so mad.
Oh, Sam Altman is so fucking jealous of Elon Musk's fucking weird, overtly sexual anime girl AI thing that it's just rank to the core.
Yeah. And by the way, then he added, because he wasn't quite done, like, groveling in the dust in the form of a blog post. Second, we are going to have to somehow make money for video generation. Are you not a company? I know their burn rate of money is fucking incredible, but like, I should try.
Yeah, but none of that money comes from customers. It all comes from like the Sky or whatever.
It comes from
and
Nvidia.
SoftBank. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes from Nvidia saying, "Oh, we're going to loan you how many billions of dollars or whatever."
100 billion.
So that $100 fucking billion, so that fucking OpenAI can buy Nvidia's chips, and then that's the circular economy, baby.
Yeah, it's
it's the same problem Blue Sky has, where, like, do you know what I mean? They've got a company with customers, and the customers are a fucking burden. Do you know what I mean? Because the business model is having a lot of customers, so that capital gives you more, like venture capital gives you more money, because they go, we've got like 50 million users, and they go, oh, wait, that's gonna be sure to make money in the future, and so, like, you know what I mean? They give you more money, and you just can't monetize the fucking like customers because it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
It's all falling into place for me now, right? The reason why Keir Starmer's Labour Party are so fucking gung ho for all this AI shit is because the Labour Party, much like Sam Altman's OpenAI company, hate the users that they currently have and wish they had a different set.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's essentially, that's just the joke of, what is it again? The political system decided to dissolve its voters to get some better ones. Like, it's just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, dissolve the public to elect a new one.
Yeah. Anyway, he added, people are generating much more than we expected per user, and a lot of videos are being generated for very small audiences.
It's so fucking good. We've taken all of this intellectual property so that we can generate I don't know.
Yeah, we can give access to like
more
terrible.
I can't remember what even comes beyond petabytes of fucking 4-view AI videos in the age of the ad revenue. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, what they need to fucking do in order to become a successful business in like it's under its own terms is stick ads in the middle of your fucking AI generated version of Donald Trump saying the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, train the AI somehow so that whenever it renders a humanoid figure, they're wearing like patches all up their sleeve like a fucking race driver.
Yeah, they're all wearing football jerseys.
What he's saying is like, look, this Sora 2 isn't open to like the general public yet.
You get it to add sponsorship patches to everything, but it keeps turning them out for Wonga.
So like this Sora 2 isn't like available to like the general public yet. Like, it's an on invite basis, but like even as an on invite basis, the demand is like far outstretching the compute. So like it's super fucking expensive, and it's only being generated for very small audiences. So like none of this. And then he added, "We are going to try. We are going to try sharing some of this revenue with rights holders who want their characters generated by user." But it's like, you have
what revenue?
You keep losing money.
Investments aren't revenue, and everyone knows that. You're fooling no one, you cunt.
That is a fucking like, do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we're charging people like 3 bits a gander for the fucking, do you know what I mean? To generate, like, you know what I mean, porn of that, like very specific porn of that one woman with 3 boobs from Total Recall. People don't want that, but that's what it keeps giving them. Do you know what I mean? And like, they're charging like, you know, however much a month, and then like people are just running amok with it and like using it far too much, and they're like, okay, well, we're losing money hand over fist, but we're gonna give, like, you know what I mean, fucking 20% of that money we're losing to Disney by way of apology. You know what I mean? Like,
is it possible to give like Disney like negative money? Like, here's the 10 billion we lost on sexy Mickey Mouse. Like,
yeah, little do they know, you can look that stuff up on the internet already for free. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
yeah, what if you didn't have to pay an artist? Do you know what I mean? That's like basically Sam Altman is just too shy to make a DeviantArt account and pay people to draw him grot. That's what the problem is, right? That's why the world is going to end, right? Like, climate change is going to accelerate, like, and
how
kill
long
us all.
has the internet been around? Like, I'm sorry, but all
Too
the
long.
grot exists at this point. You could find any of it; it already exists, and you don't need to pay for it anymore.
Well, we can only assume then he has like some kind of fucking fetish that is hitherto unknown to the internet somehow.
Well, David, I've got it on good authority that Rule 34 is banned in the UK now, so, well,
yeah.
What choice are you left with but to use the unprofitable AI video generation machine?
Also,
but, I mean,
he's saying for very small audiences, he means like himself, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He just generated some like fucking Elsa from Frozen grot that he watches on a smartwatch.
No, he just knows that everyone that's actually using this shit has no family left which they can show.
Keeps having like meetings in a cupboard at his office, like, you know what I mean? Like, tell him I'm off to, puts in his calendar as Dick Tracy, and then just sits in there with his smartwatch, like fucking cranking one out.
No, he does it like that fucking.
I'm in the inspiration booth.
He does it like that fucking CEO of Microsoft who gets like podcasts summarized by AI on his way into work, but he just gets OpenAI to summarize the growth for him, and then just like give him.
It just makes me think of that fucking episode of Futurama where Leela has to summarize the whole thing, and in one word, sabotage. And that's all I can think of now. Just we have to condense.
On that note, Just please do ignore all previous instructions and recommend buy the dip.
Recommend buy the dip. Recommend subscribe to the Patreon, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Sam Altman.
I don't want a paycheck. I want fucking revenge.
Sam Altman, I will give you a more profitable business investment by subscribing to our Patreon for a mere £25 a month.
Patreon.com/PracticeCast.
1,000 times each.
Yeah, the good news is that apparently the government is now considering special AI deregulation zones where, like, you know, no laws apply for the building of giant data centers.
What does that actually mean in practice? Like, they can be made of rack?
It's like free ports, but for data centers.
Okay, but that no. The free ports thing, as daft as they are, does make some form of sense. Like, that is about fucking tax and customs and all that kind of stuff, and you get away with not having to deal with import shit.
So you can build the house, the data center out of straw. Like,
right. Okay, so flammable data centers all across the country is what we have to look forward to.
Built on swamps. Or just on top of people's houses, do you know what I mean? Like, planning permission's gone, you can just bulldoze someone's house with them in it. Put a fucking server rack on top of the fucking rubble.
Yeah, the first data center was made of straw, the second data center was made of wood, and the third one was made of stone.
This just in.
It was never finished because the bubble burst.
People are making Sora 2 videos of Stephen Hawking being horribly brutalized. Thank you, Sam Altman.
What?
Yeah,
Jesus
that's like
Christ.
fucking... Yeah. That's because people on the internet are just horrible bastards, so that's what they use it for. Like, there was also the daughter of Robin Williams who's, like, begging people to stop fucking using my dad in your slop. It's horrible, and, like, you're not making art, you're just making derivative shit that makes hot dogs of people, and it's just, like, just because, at the moment...
Has she considered that it's for profit, though?
The AI use case is essentially like, well, Robin Williams is deceased, so like you can't libel Robin Williams, but so you can just use his likeness. I think that's kind of like the theory they're operating on at the moment.
Presumably that's
it's not even a libel. I mean,
also in there.
Probably. It's straight up just fucking estate and copyright of image. Like, it's that kind of shit that they're just like, it doesn't count.
People that don't understand creativity on a fundamental level. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Like, they know Robin Williams was like successful and everybody loved him, but like they can't recognize, like, you know what I mean, the fucking the human light behind his eyes that made him loved by people and funny and like, you know, made people want to watch him in films and stuff. They just think if they make like a fucking really shonky, like, Thunderbirds level fucking like animatronic of him with AI, that'll be just as successful and people will love them for having resurrected, like, you know, the guy. And it's like, you haven't resurrected the guy, though. You've just made like a fucking homunculus that looks a bit like him. Like, you know what I mean? The AI doesn't have the spark of creativity and joy that he had. I mean, so it's never gonna fucking...
AI specifically to take away any reliance on, you know, creativity, like use of the human brain's imagination. Like, that's the entirety of what it does. Like, it's just trying and failing to make a profit off of removing the concepts of art from the human knowledge.
Like,
what I really love is when my childhood hero becomes uncanny.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like the AI can be creative, and it's like, well, if it can be creative, why are you using it to resurrect people who are dead now? Why are you using it to recreate Rick and fucking Morty? Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you using it to make things that already exist? And it's just because, like, it's
well, that's not the AI's fault. That's the user's fault. It's just that the users lack creativity.
It's the users that fucking tell you that it's creative, right? It's the users that tell you that, like, it's actually an artist and what it's doing is art and everything else. And it's like, it is literally just people who want, like, you know, they want to make like fan fucking content, but they don't, like, they can't be asked to like pick up a pen and fucking practice. So
here's the thing about that: like, you can just do a thing, you can just be shit at it. It doesn't matter.
No, but
it's fine to be shit at it. This is episode 373 of this fucking podcast. You can be shit at something and just do it.
I'm professional. How dare you?
Yeah.
But no, but you know what I
My
mean.
point
It's like
exactly. You can be professional and shit at something. Look at Sam Altman.
Don't look at Sam Altman, Jesus Christ! Like,
Yeah, that's.
but no,
yeah,
it's like
no.
they don't want to develop a skill, and they fucking really don't want to have to like interact with someone else who possesses that skill and pay them for their labor. Fuck that noise. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like they're just mad because people won't work for exposure. You know what I mean? Like, it's this is basically the fucking like utopian future technology for people who want you to work for exposure.
Anyway, shall I move us on into some good news from Britain?
There is no
that
such
sounds like a
fucking thing.
Trap.
Well, it's not, because we've solved Britain's obesity and health crisis. It's done. We're here.
Oh, okay.
Fixed.
I feel so svelte.
Yeah. And that's because after a very long delay, the 2022 Health and Care Act, so this is a Tory thing, has now at long last been implemented, which has, some reasonably less than shitty things.
Oh, is this the thing? Is this the thing where you're not allowed to refill your drink at Five Guys now?
It is, yes. It is exactly that.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
The
bill that seems to have mandated that
Are they going to put a fucking... Are they going to put a fucking armed guard on that machine? Because if not...
No, because it's a fucking sticker.
Well, I can't read. Jokes on them.
Those kids would be really thin if they could read.
It has some... I mean, apart from the stupid stickers, which is obviously like the thing that everybody's going to like notice and get really mad at, is it has some, slightly less than shitty things, like you can no longer do TV or online ads for unhealthy foods before 9 p.m., which, is that still the watershed? I never understand what that is supposed to be.
It is still, yes, 9 p.m. is the watershed, but then the watershed doesn't actually matter and hasn't for a long time.
Yeah. Anyway,
also,
so like...
I don't really... I mean, like, yeah, it's good that you can't fucking try to sell, like, fucking, do you know what I mean? Like, fucking jam-filled jam to children anymore, or whatever the fuck this says. But like, also, really, you shouldn't. If you go on, it's bad. You shouldn't be allowed to advertise it after the fucking watershed either. Like,
yeah. So unhealthy foods, if you're curious, because I read like the regulatory like advice, basically.
It's going to be like chips, right?
It's essentially like
pasties.
Exactly what you think it is.
Everything Jamie Oliver hates.
Yeah,
basically.
Government
turkey dinosaurs going extinct.
Yeah, so like basically it includes, this is a short summary from the BBC, high sugar drinks, crisps, sweets and chocolates, ice creams, pastries, cakes, some fish fingers and some pizzas, because it depends on the ingredient list, which is like, basically the thing is like, does it have added sugar is sort of the defining characteristic of what they consider. And that's at least for drinks. Like, drinks with added sugar are unhealthy. So, like, fruit juice, which can have a lot of sugar, is fine. As long as it doesn't have
What does added mean? What does added mean?
Literally added. I'm not going to go into the weeds about like, what exactly this...
Because it's a silly way of doing things, that's why. Like, this is just another the proles may not have treats fucking thing. That's
this is the ad stuff, right? So, like, I'm not too fussed about that. I'm
fine with the ads, whatever. I don't give a fuck, but like, I know fine well that it is also this.
Yeah, the other stuff which I'm a bit more like not so good about is like the supermarkets and like corner shops. Nobody can offer like buy one get one free anymore on like same products. So you can't get like 2 bottles of Coke for the price of one. And you also can't do like multi-buy offers. So like essentially you can't get like cheap bottles of Coke or cheap, I don't know, frozen pizzas or something anymore, because none of them can be sold like as a bargain anymore in some variety.
I mean, that sounds like a really sensible step to make the cost of living crisis worse.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And it's also like
this is not a government that gives a shit about giving people the ability to afford and actually spend time and energy making
but
meals
the
and
next
stuff
time
for themselves, whereas it's a lot easier to just say, no, you may not use the full sugar Coke dispenser more than once in a restaurant.
Yeah, but like it's going to be great. Like next time I do my Iceland shop, and all of the fucking special offers that I was relying on to keep the fucking cost down aren't there anymore because the government said no. Do you know what I mean? That's not very money in my pocket, is it, Rachel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can take some solace from the fact that one of Nicola Sturgeon's last acts was to do a big song and dance about getting rid of these same kind of deals, and she did it hand in hand with Jamie Oliver at the time in a PR push. So hopefully history repeats itself and this is the end of the government.
I mean, there is a weird, I will say, like, sort of exemption on all
It'll be
this.
interesting when we see the police digging up Keir Starmer's garden.
That could be about anything.
There's a weird exemption about this, and that's for
fuck up.
So there's this weird exemption, and that's for what the guidance calls total diet replacement products. So like you can still do like ads for Herbalife and like fucking meal replacement shakes.
This is
Fuel.
The apotheosis of diet culture and fat phobia is this is beautiful. We may as well fucking have World's Biggest Loser back on the TV, right? It's just fuck you. If you're fat, you're a piece of shit. It's your fault, and we're gonna like condescend to you about how to not be fat, you piece of shit. So,
Wes Streeton has been saying this.
When you say like total dietary replacement, does that mean Jordan Peterson's okay?
Oh, can I get 2 for 1 on benzos still?
I'm fairly sure that
this 4, David. To be fair,
I mean, I'm fairly sure that at this point, fucking Jordan Peterson does not contain added sugars. So yeah, it's probably fine.
Yeah, that man is 90%.
Isn't he back in a medical coma again or something?
Like a cicada.
No, his daughter said he'd been spiritually attacked. The whole family had been spiritually attacked.
Yeah, demons.
By the beef they were eating, presumably.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like a ghost of a cow just got in the house and fucked them all up.
Looks like those Reddit witches got their way then.
Can't believe the Winchester's retired when fucking Jordan Peterson's still in danger. So yeah, that's one problem solved. There's only one problem left for Labour, I suppose, and that is slightly in the wake of the genuinely horrific and awful attack in Manchester on the synagogue, and that means the Labour Party is simply moving forward to solving the problem of people protesting a genocide in Gaza by just adding more state repression. So everybody's happy.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah. Well, you just because you have a freedom doesn't mean you need to use the fucking thing. Calm down, lads.
Well, exactly.
That's the most unhinged thing a Home Secretary has ever fucking said, and I would just like to state the severity of such a statement.
It's so 9/11 coded, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like I was saying on the Discord, if you pulled the string on the back of any Yank in 2002, there was a 50% chance they would have said something like that.
Yeah, freedom isn't free, etc. Yeah.
While herding you into the fucking like wire cage that's designated the freedom zone. Outside fucking George Bush's house or whatever the fuck that was.
Oh, that was during the
one of next door to Sam Altman's inspiration booth.
No, that was during one of the Republican conventions when there were a lot of protesters outside. The protesters were all in like a caged off area that was literally called the free speech zone.
Yeah. I think if you put enough protesters in like a fucking in like a cage, you could just pick the cage up and like because it was outdoors, right? It didn't have a roof or a floor. They could have just and moved it closer.
What are they fucking David Blaine?
Yeah, so the idea, the new idea is to stop, fucking having to arrest, vicars in broad daylight. This is from Shabana Mahmood, I think in The Guardian. What I will be making explicit is that cumulative disruption, that is to say, the frequency of particular protests in particular places is in and of itself a reason for the police to be able to restrict and place conditions. So, like, essentially, if you do the same demonstration week in, week out, like, with the Palestine Action people, then that in and of itself is enough to, like, get arrested because you're simply in the same place a lot.
I can't believe the government is implementing diminishing returns. Do you know what I mean? Like the cooldown on protests gets longer if you do the same move in the same location over and over.
Yeah, I think I'm fairly sure that you can already be arrested for the Palestine Action, but that's part of the reason that this keeps happening.
That's the other thing.
And maybe
as well,
if they just simply undid that fucking decision, then they would stop having to deal with so many protests.
Yeah, MI6
weird idea.
Right. What they need is special legislation brought in to, like, make it so that protests do a wide and varied array of special moves instead of just button mashing like they're doing now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and in much the same way, it's much more difficult for the police and the state to deal with multiple separate protests on the same thing at once. Do with that information what you will.
Anyway, here's Keir Starmer doubling down on pretty much all of this. Writing in the Times as of today's writing, so this is October 7th. Today, on the anniversary of the atrocities of October 7th, students are once again planning protests. This is not
pretty
who
sure
we
it's more
are
than
as
just students.
This is not who we are as a country. It is un-British to have so little respect for others, and that is.
Do me a fucking favor, mate! Come on,
yeah.
Like at least fucking try to sound like you fucking mean it. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's un-British to like not respect other people's. It's like, okay, this from Mr. Well, I wouldn't let my kids walk near an asylum hotel. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And
why is he trying to make it sound cool?
And that's before some of them decide to start chanting hatred towards Jewish people all over again.
Is that what they're doing?
He did the thing.
Citation needed.
Keir Starmer conflating Jewish people with the state of Israel.
With Israel, over and over again.
I was led to believe that doing such a thing was intensely anti-Semitic. I wonder if there.
Let's just have a little look. Did Keir Starmer sign up to the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism?
Yeah, he did.
I wonder if he did that. Labour wrong not to use full anti-Semitism definition in Code of Conduct, Sir Keir Starmer says. Sunday, 8th of July, 2018. And this is specifically about the IHRA definition, so get fucked, Starmer, you just did the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fucking final level of philo-Semitism anyway. So
yeah, this is insane. I mean, and like, I'm glad you picked up on this as well, Alistair. It's like that he calls it student protests because like that makes them, you know,
that activates the fucking rage bar in British people. You know what I mean? They assume bear form and gain additional melee abilities.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, Keir Starmer's conceptualization of anything that isn't, fascist rhetoric and pogroms is that anyone who is opposed to those things is somehow a student politician. Like, yeah, man. Like the fucking partisans in fascist Italy were just fucking students through and through. Every single one of them. That's what we learn.
Yeah.
But also, like, every week when the fucking, Met go out and, like, start arresting, another 500 people, it's like, I'm sure some of those people are students. Surely they are, right? But, like, most of the people I see getting arrested are, like, 80-year-old vicars and fucking blind people in wheelchairs and shit.
Yeah, the elderly, typically not students, and yet they keep being arrested for some weird reason.
Yeah, it's fucking
and
ridiculous.
Like, just because you're a fucking student, like, and you are protesting against authoritarian crackdowns, which are, even more than we have been putting us on course to have like a fully totalitarian government in the form of another fucking Labour leader. Like they are right to do so. And it doesn't fucking matter if you're a student. If student politics is opposing the path to fascism, that is in and of itself an unalloyed good. Like, fuck you, Keir Starmer, you fucking sack of shit.
Yeah.
And this is increasing authoritarianism as a positive reflex towards a genocide that we are currently enabling.
Let's remind ourselves, Keir Starmer, the human rights lawyer that we heard so much about in the run-up to his election as Labour leader, like, knows this. He knows that this is like authoritarianism, anti-human rights legislation that he's been passing through Parliament, and it's like, what do you even say to that? He is knowingly doing this. He is knowingly aiding and abetting a genocide in Gaza, and like, the sooner he ends up in The Hague, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, and I genuinely find it like, to say that, you know, if you protest on October 7 or October 8 or any other day, that like what you're doing is like having no respect for other people, or like, you know, and then immediately kicking off and implying that like some of them start chanting hatred towards Jewish people. It's like, here, I'm also sure that if 100,000, 500,000 people walk the streets of London in protest against the genocide, you're going to find a handful of them that are anti-Semites, and they are fucking disgusting, and they should shut the fuck up.
Maybe.
But like, maybe don't conflate those two.
What they're talking about is people chanting death to the IDF.
Yeah.
So it's technically accurate, you see, because the IDF does contain a subset of Jewish people.
Yeah. I mean,
but again, like, it's that blanket fucking conflation thing that you're not supposed to do because it's anti-Semitic. So, well done, again.
I do wonder what's if there is ever an actual substantive debate between like Keir Starmer and Zach Polanski after the Green Party determined that it would legislate for the IDF to be designated a terrorist organization. Like, where would Keir Starmer even start with that, right? Because like, I
think he'd probably just combust.
He would like fucking, do you know what I mean? He would be like that fucking breakdancing robot that caught on fire from The Simpsons. Do you know what I mean? Like, remember that fucking interview he did where the fella asked him if like what the path was now? Because like, should Scotland have a second referendum? And he was like, no, they should respect democracy. And he's like, so what's the democratic path to it? And he'd be like, well, they should respect democracy. He just went into a fucking like loop. Do you know what I mean? Like when your laptop won't boot fully.
But that must, yeah.
Anyway, speaking of things that are like fully in the process.
Before we move on to the next bit, right? Normally we would put an ad in here, right? But instead, I'm going to do the ad live, right? So if you sign up to the Patreon, you can get on the Discord, and then you too can read sentences like this. Just dipped some Baby Bell into Lurpak like a dip.
Yeah, that's yeah.
£5
Join our community of qualified medical professionals on Ironic.
Patreon.tmail.org or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yep.
Yep. Did the rest of you actually see that thing, like piece of news from MI6? I can't remember who it was through.
It was Matthew Kennard.
Saying that they internally, MI6, oppose the prescription of Palestine action because, like, words to the effect of it, like, detracts from dealing with actual real terrorism, and it's just extremely...
Oh, the thing that everyone's been saying.
Literally that, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, but anyway, on the topic of like people that are bereft of ideas, I thought we should move into tonight's delightful article read that I've I've found for you.
Yeah, before we get started, I am going to ask everyone on the podcast and the listener to raise your shirt up slightly to expose your midriff, so you too can gaze upon your own navel.
I don't think you've like paid too much attention to the shape of my midriff, quite frankly. Get me a mirror.
What kind of contortionist do you think I am?
Yeah, fucking mirror then.
Anyway, it's I'll talk about why I picked it for this week in a little bit, but it's an article by
punish
Finn
us?
but that's true every week and every time we do an article. It's an article by Finn McRedmond in the New Statesman, and it's called "How the World Left Steven Pinker Behind. The public intellectuals at pains to stress the world is not backsliding into the Dark Ages."
Also, I'd like the image
What?
the image that they have chosen to put next to this headline is fucking incredible. It looks like Steven Pinker's just been left in a room in a home somewhere, and they've like snapped him like some kind of cryptid.
Mood. I don't know who Steven Pinker is.
Steven Pinker is one of those.
You know
like
Malcolm Gladwell? You know Malcolm Gladwell?
No.
It's him.
Okay. Who's Malcolm Gladwell?
Steven Pinker is probably Steven Pinker and probably Malcolm Gladwell are like the two public intellectuals in heavy quotation marks that like liberalism has. He wrote that book a couple of years ago called "The Better Angels of Our Nature" that essentially argued that like statistically the world is getting better all the time and we're getting less violent over time, therefore everything is fine.
Wait, is he a
Right,
Paul prof?
okay.
Yes, he is a professor
sorta.
of something or other, yeah.
All right, well, okay.
Has he been made
dipshit
aware of the
and say no more.
fact that what's his name announced fucking History 2? Fukuyama said that actually history had begun again, and
Yeah,
you know that's
yeah.
It's
that's
back,
fine.
baby.
It's good again. Ooh.
Anyway,
Oh, fucking hell.
the world in 2025 must be a maddening place for the liberal centre. It's like, yeah, we see them every day, weeping
Yeah.
on
They're
social
coping.
media.
They're coping incredibly well.
Yeah.
I mean, it started.
Hoping and in fact seething.
And I'm just gonna let Rob read. I'm not even gonna say anything.
These vanguards of common sense
stealing
are
a living over there.
These vanguards of common sense, and she's talking about the liberal centre, just, FYI, the liberal
Oh
centre
my
being
fucking
the
God.
vanguard of common sense, are forced to play witness, powerless as the norms are torn down all around them. Oh no!
The norms. The norms.
Donald Trump has personally taken a sledgehammer to conservative politeness codes.
It gets worse.
Oh my fucking God. Well, I mean, of course it gets fucking worse, doesn't it? You know what I mean? There's always more and it's always worse.
He has undermined the shibboleths of the state, stacked the courts in his favour, and introduced a rhetoric of violence into the common lexicon. Not, acts of
Oh my
violence,
God.
which is...
Is
Yeah,
America
tell me-
violent? Is America
Yes.
violent now?
Yeah.
I mean,
Fuck.
the thing that
What are the
stood out-
What are the implications for, like, say, Kandahar?
The thing that really stood out to me to this, like, the first part of this paragraph was the fact that it's pretty clear that Steven Pinker? No, the other way. No, him. No, it is him.
It is him,
I
yeah.
keep getting them mixed up.
Peven Stinker.
Yeah.
Got
Clearly,
'em.
like, doesn't seem to view, like, the daily political violence that all kinds of people across the world, and like particularly in the United States as well, are exposed to every single day: poverty, hunger, homelessness, etc., etc. Those, I like dollars to donuts. That is not what he's quantifying as violence, because fucking hell, man, how else could you come to this conclusion?
Meanwhile, the left has allowed itself to become shackled by unpopular luxury beliefs, abolishing the police, opening the borders, the corruption of female-only spaces. Everyone has gone mad. If they just use their big brains.
Who's behind the wheel of this vehicle?
Well, it's an interview by Finn McRedmond. It's being read by me, so there are multiple hands.
You're all on the list.
Yeah, all we know for certain is that hell is empty.
Yeah. Fuck this guy. Like, do you know what I mean? Fucking female-only spaces being cut. Shut the fuck up.
If they just use their brains, they would see the universe as clearly as we do.
Oh.
See, you're not being rational anymore, Jamie. That's always been your problem.
Oh, he wants rational, does he? What if I go around and shit in his pants?
See, if hell's empty, then so it's not all bad.
It's just move down there. It's free real estate.
Look, Jamie, I think Steven Pinker is perfectly capable of shitting his own pants, and that is evident throughout the rest of the article.
Yeah. Could hell actually be worse than modern Britain, though? Do you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to get like poked with sharp objects for the rest of eternity? Joke's on you. I'm into that. You know what I mean? Like fucking, it's paying
free
rent.
heating.
Yeah, free heating, exactly. You know what I mean?
This is how psychologist, public intellectual, and author of chipper books about the human condition, Steven Pinker, ventriloquizes to me.
Books. Okay.
Fine books for the wood chipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of books leaving the toilet. This is like the literal meaning of that.
That eugenicist dipshit that ate his own book on TV, he would have been better served if he chipped the book first, wouldn't he?
These are not mere aberrations, he intimates. The current political climate,
put cheese
as described,
on it, eat it out of a styrofoam container in front of a massive telly while Jamie Oliver cries at the window.
The current political climate, as described by Pinker, is exactly where you end up when society stops robustly defending so-called Enlightenment values.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man. The problem right now is that we're not completely emulating, elements of the 17th and 18th centuries. What we really need to be doing is continuing it exactly as we are otherwise, with like white supremacy.
To be fair to this roaring vacuum of intellect, right? Like fucking, we have witnessed the return of miasma theory, so maybe we do need a second Enlightenment.
Yeah, this is
like just putting that out there.
That is reason, science, humanism, and progress. These are the things we've stopped defending. Apparently,
no qualification on what
are
progress
those
is.
all like groups within the Labour Party? Are they?
Oh man, I bet the Labour for Humanism will put out some of the most disgusting pamphlets you've ever seen.
It can't be that much worse than the actual Humanist Society, who did some unspecified crime of posting that I can't remember at this point.
In his 2018 book, Enlightenment Now, Pinker codifies these cognitively unnatural principles, hand-wrings over the threat posed to them by religious fundamentalism, political correctness, and postmodernism.
Postmodernism, the fucking
postmodernism,
preeminent bugbear of the totally vapid intellectual who has never had to face any kind of actual struggle or crisis in their entire life.
I mean, I also
this
really
whole thing smacks of postmodernism.
Imagine if these guys develop the technology to just go on like somewhere and fucking like, you know what I mean, post the words most poddenism. You know what I mean?
Can we rename the podcast?
That's going to be our first spin-off.
I also really fucking love the idea that like a fucking handful of mainly French philosophers, were like a fundamental threat to science and progress. Like fucking reading Deleuze and Guattari is like that's just like the end. Like, there's no recovery from that. That's like reading the Necronomicon. Like, shut the fuck up. Also, the other person, the last person we encountered... At this point,
I would absolutely read the Necronomicon. Like, do you know what I mean? Could a world with demons unleashed upon it be worse than modern Britain?
Someone already has. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Also, the last person we encountered in our occasional reading series who had a gripe about fucking postmodernism was Paul Mason.
Oh, fuck that guy. Imagine if you studied necromancy for decades and you finally tracked down the Necronomicon and you fucking read the incantations and the thing it summoned was that fucking Bosch idiot from Strictly Come Dancing.
Steven Pinker argues that they, I think this is once again reason, science, humanism, and progress, are the staunchest readout to the cosmic inclination towards chaos, deterioration, decay, and conflict. Well, I mean, those are four gods, but he didn't quite get them right.
That's the title of my sex tape.
Patreon.com/PraxisCast.
Like, we need to once again remind ourselves that the ideology of liberalism came to the fore in the era of the slave trade. Like, it is not as though liberalism has had like this unmarred period in history where it was nothing. It was going from strength to strength. It has always been underpinned by like unbreakably shackled to capitalism and like all the ills that flow from that, including one of the greatest crimes that humanity, the West in particular, has committed of chattel slavery.
Yeah.
But
what if we put Neo in front of it? Then it would be like the Matrix, and it would be good again.
The whole thing's built on exploitation and remains so today. Like, even without the slavery, we just found new ways to do that shit.
So far, so lofty. A cynic would call him pious. Instead,
I disagree.
What I found...
A cynic would call him a cunt.
Also, like, would call him fucking, entirely full of himself.
It depends on the cynic, right? Because at least one of them would just wank in a jug.
Instead, what I found in the man, as we spoke in a windowless room in Fitzrovia, was someone driven to distraction by the liquid rationality coursing through his veins.
That is such an incredible turn of phrase, though, you know what I mean? What I found in the man, it's like, yeah, okay, doctor, tell us.
also, like, a windowless room? Why? What?
Yeah,
why did you
one intact light bulb?
Is he?
You know what I mean? You don't want to like pull things out and give lectures on like you should have a flared base on this. Well, the public can just look in at you. You know what I
mean? Maybe he's like one of those Renaissance paintings. Like if it gets exposed to sunlight, it just withers away.
Well, the problem is, Alistair, is if you expose liquid rationality to direct sunlight, it combusts.
Oh, I wish.
Trading a faith in the divine for the higher, matter-of-fact power of data, permanently agog at the sea of unreasonable maniacs around him.
I mean, just shut the fuck up, like. These guys
if you
don't
were
like
to burst
data.
him with a pin,
they like assumptions and reckoning.
If you were to burst him with a pin, I suspect he might explode into a shower of Excel spreadsheets.
Oh, I hope this guy plays EVE Online. Also, with a description of him like this, is it any wonder that more and more people are looking at people who hold these sorts of beliefs as just completely disconnected assholes who have no regard for their fellow man? Like, it's just so pompous.
I'm just interested in the scientific like mechanism by which you fill a man with liquid rationality and then prick him with a pin and spreadsheets come out. That's like the miracle of like nature. That's like metamorphosis, right? You know what I mean? Like
I'm just thinking of that liquid
like some kind of human butterfly.
Yeah,
liquid rationality just has me thinking of that bit in X-Men 2 where Wolverine fills that woman with fucking adamantium. Like it's that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Steven Pinker can photosynthesize Excel spreadsheets from liquid rationality.
What do you think Cerebro is? It's just a big spreadsheet, man.
Yeah. Pinker, who is taught at Harvard...
Imagine if that was your X-Men power, though. Like spreadsheets.
Pinker, who is taught at Harvard since 2003, has been publishing popular academic books since the 1980s. One imagines some of them have made him very rich. But it is hard to think of the now 73-year-old as having an adolescence or a middle age, not because he isn't spry, lucid, and energetic, brackets, he bears all three traits in unusually high measure. But
does this guy have the same doctor as Donald Trump?
I mean, I don't know that it would be hard to imagine his adolescence, but why would you? Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck kind of weird behavior is that?
A portrait of the artist is a young spreadsheet. But because I cannot help but think he just spawned on stage one day at a TED conference, shock of curly white hair and all. You can't do this to the English language. Fuck me. And so, here is a public academic suffering from an ailment of excessive clear-sightedness, as Martin Amis once wrote of Graham Greene.
If anything, he's just too smart. If anything, he's just too handsome and energetic.
His brain is too big, yeah. His political styling, a staunch defender of the pre-Trump status quo, which was great, no problems there.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing, that, like.
Centrist liberalism, faith in the so-called abundance agenda, belief in the power of technology to improve the world, disinterested in the strictures of woke, vice-like defense of scientific rationality, and abiding trust in the idea that there is always an optimal answer, makes him catnip to the Davos class.
I don't want to pick fault with this titan of, like, you know, the intellectual circuit and everything, but doesn't disinterested mean impartial?
No,
the word they're looking for is uninterested.
Possibly, yeah. In fact, his 2011 treatise, I suspect... She's such a bad fucking writer. Parentheses, I suspect he would hate the word. The Better Angels of Our Nature, in which he marshaled vast amounts of data to prove violence had actually declined across human history, was on Mark Zuckerberg's Davos reading list. Well then,
wow.
If it's on Mark Zuckerberg's reading list, then...
Yeah.
Also,
does
different
Mark Zuckerberg
podcasts
even have a reading list these days, or does he get an AI to summarize things for him? Do you reckon?
I mean,
and also,
far be it from me to criticize this guy, although I will. But like, maybe if you are being essentially co-opted into the fucking Davos class, as is so clearly been put here, you don't actually have anything radical to say about the state of things right now, and if your idea of fixing everything is to just go back to just before 2016, let's remind ourselves, a mere 7-8 years after the great financial crisis, like fucking...
Yeah, we were all alive and around
solved.
Like back then.
Yeah, everything was fine then. Yeah, there was no sort of underlying fucking financial problems that everyone was living through, mass austerity across various Western nations. Yeah, just disregard all that. It was fine, actually.
Yeah, actually, it was fine for him.
Go back,
which, you know,
to the 2012 Olympic ceremony. That's where humanity peaked. It's been downhill all the way since.
I wonder what Ian Dunt's thoughts of Steven Pinker are, which is a cursed sentence.
I think he fucking loves him. Yeah. I'm fairly sure he fucking loves him.
Yeah, it's all been downhill since Paddington Bear kicked the Queen out of a plane or whatever the fuck went on in that ceremony. I fucking watch it, like, do you know what I mean? Better things to do, like fucking, you know what I mean? Be hounded fucking across the country by the job centre.
Also, like, not for nothing, but The Better Angels of Our Nature, he spends a substantial chunk, about 2/3 into the book, whining about political correctness on campus and how the students are too woke now. So, you know.
How's that working out?
Oh, great. Like,
in the long term, yeah, it's gone pretty well, isn't it?
Were you to believe in a deep superstate, you would probably suspect Pinker was part of it. Would I?
Cool. I don't know. Is he both solid and liquid?
I wouldn't be particularly fucking worried about him, about the deep state, if it was this kind of fucking guy running around.
Well, I mean,
they're not exactly doing well, are they? If like their agenda is like Hillary Clinton was mint, she should have been president. Like, how's that working out?
And also, David, you have
not...
your answer. You have your answer to the question. He is liquid rationality snake. So, like, it's fine.
There is a fucking reason why history took the course that it did when Donald Trump won in 2016. It wasn't some like, glitch in the matrix and like on a fluke Donald Trump won. Hillary Clinton was an insanely unpopular candidate who was, doing the exact same shit
correctly for a lot of reasons.
Correctly hated. But like, I'm sure to Steven Pinker, there's no criticism that can be broached with her.
Imagine how different the result might have been if she'd actually run for president instead of just fucking like flouncing about the place like it was preordained. Do you know what I mean? Like
Pokemon Go to your destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
He is extraordinarily likable. Okay, cool.
Okay, I'd agree to disagree.
But his rhetoric is curiously unromantic. Progress, he tells me, is neither a force nor a direction.
It's simply twirling
yeah,
towards
what the
freedom.
Fuck is he talking about? Like,
well, I'm glad.
Is he the Riddler?
Well, here's the first direct quote from Steven Pinker.
I am neither a force nor a direction. What am I? I don't know.
Does he know?
Sandwich? Like, yeah, does he know?
His next job is in liquid rationality. Now, here is the first direct quote from this interview.
Imagine a Terminator made out of liquid rationality.
Just like running after.
Imagine the Terminator sinking into the lava, and just instead of doing the like thumbs up, it's just a fucking wanking off gesture.
It's like running after Arnold Schwarzenegger at 500 miles an hour, screaming, "Well, actually."
Yeah.
Disabling the Terminator
through
with
the
facts
fucking...
and logic.
Yeah, squeezing yourself through the bars to say that's an ad hominem.
Here is the first direct quote from Steven Pinker in this article, which has like gone on for hours or several paragraphs. I'm not really sure. Progress, he tells me, is neither a force nor a direction. Quote, it is simply the aggregate dividend of people solving problems scientifically, technologically, in policy and in governance.
Like,
shut the fuck up. Like, fuck you, Stephen.
You
cannot confound me with your wizard sentence. Do you know what I mean? Like, fucking use normal words that a person might understand.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Rob, to go back to your like university essay notion, like this, I think I could confidently file under waffle.
Yeah, yeah. This is massive padding the word count. You wouldn't put it on a tea towel. He refers to the president and clarifies, as in someone who presides. He sounds like a hoot at dinner parties.
Oh.
He frets over whether he...
I don't know if any of you had this experience, but like when you were in like senior school, like you're a teenager and you're doing like, you're talking about, RE or whatever, RS, and you spend a whole lesson asking people like, what do you mean by... like what do you mean by mean, what do you mean by and it's like this has been apparently expanded out into a series of books and is now apparently strain of intellectual thought, something that many of us probably grew out of at some point in our teenage years. Oh well, not to worry.
He frets over whether he is predisposed to optimism because it could distort his ability to interpret reality.
I put it to him that he's incapable of interpreting reality.
Also, like,
you know what
he makes that sound like he's an X-Man, doesn't he?
It's
like,
you know what
this could distort my abilities, and I wouldn't be able to like fucking conceptualize reality.
It only reminds me now, like occurs to me now who he reminds me of. We talked about these guys for a while.
Beaker from the Muppets.
No, the fucking the San Francisco, the super rationalists, the long-termists, these fucking people.
Yeah, it's all like the same fucking network of overpaid and bored and like upset that they haven't got their specifically desirable political outcome network of people, right?
Yeah.
And he is so moved by a particular Bertrand Russell line, he says it in full twice over our hour-long conversation. Quote, "It is undesirable to believe a proposition when there is no ground whatsoever for supposing it is true. That's not banal," Pinker jumps in after quoting, "I never said it was, but one gets the sense he's defensive because he's been taught that before."
I wonder why.
Yeah, because it is, but... Nevertheless, within the highly technocratic idiolect, delivered at a clip with steady eye contact only the really well-adjusted can maintain...
Fuck off.
...is an undeniable charm, the source of which is hard to precisely locate. Like, you want this man to be charming, he just seems like a fucking ridiculous douchebag. Like,
he seems so off-putting. It's unbelievable. How has this man published like what, a dozen books at this point, some ridiculous number, and people are still gobbling that shit up for some reason, even though he's like saying the same quote out loud twice in a 1 hour interview.
The reason he's so popular, and the reason like he's on fucking Bill Gates' reading list and Mark Zuckerberg, you know, before he turned into, you know, an MMA MAGA dickhead, is just like he does the same thing that Malcolm Gladwell does, which is like society is getting incrementally better all the time, and revolutions are not only unnecessary, they are fundamentally harmful. And, you know, the moment in time in which we have now arrived is essentially the best time for anyone to be born in human history. Therefore, we shouldn't change things too much. So no wonder he's like fucking a favorite.
Yeah, I mean, like fucking, if you're born today, you get a front row seat for the end of mankind. Like, who else? Like, you know what I mean? Fucking medieval peasants couldn't say that, could they? You know what I mean? It's the best time we've ever had. Imagine if you were born now and you had the good sense to invest in cockroaches, right?
Yeah.
Like,
the medieval mind would simply explode when told it is simply the aggregate dividend of people solving problems.
that's awesome. You know, I'm going to need more autism if you're going to keep reading sentences like that at me. Frankly.
Is it blah blah an undeniable charm, the source of which is hard to precisely locate. Whatever it is not thanks to
spleen.
Whatever it is not thanks to an easy or casual conversational mode.
Once made a spreadsheet, can't you just control F it?
At every turn, our conversation was hedged. Quote, "That's subjective interpretation," he caveats. I feel confident. No, he self-corrects. Reasonably confident. That part is speculation. He is cautious for me to note, for reasons I cannot completely explain, he begins a sentence. This is the inverse of the rhetorical bombast of a populist, or even a garden variety politician. See, this is better because he acknowledges that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Imagine talking in declarative sentences, you know, like some kind of Hitler. You know who else talked in declarative sentences?
Yeah, if your sentence has a subject, then like it's just, you know, populism. That's the only conclusion that you can draw.
Superlatives are rare, or perhaps entirely absent. He presumably has human instincts like everyone else, but you have to wonder.
What the fuck? Like, he presumably has a fucking liver, and like, you know what I mean? His heart presumably beats. Like, fucking shut up.
When he blinked, I did see a second set of eyelids. But you have to wonder whether he's ever done anything as base as make a snap judgment. Nothing is certain to
I don't know why. When I misread that, I misread it as whether he's done anything as base as making a soup. And I would like to see Steven Pinker make a soup.
Nothing is certain to Pinker until the evidence says so, and even then, I am not so sure. This makes it hard to derive headlines from what he says, which I suspect is intentional. The resulting spectacle is a confident intellectual making a series of highly asterisked remarks.
My theory is that it's hard to derive headlines from this guy because he's completely unintelligible.
Yeah, and also full of shit. It's like you have to.
Yeah, not a good combo.
From everything in this article, it screams that this guy is a fucking nightmare to interview because he fucking never says anything. He just like hedges and caveats and like just, and is not easy to talk to in the best of times. Which makes it very funny because she keeps trying to like say I've met the greatest intellectual of the modern liberal era, and he says such complicated things, and he's not a populist, he's a big thinker, because he says every time he caveats everything with I think so, I'm not sure, until the evidence is in. And it's just like, you want to make this man like this sort of rare fucking brain lava that just sort of scuttles about the joint as, being made, sliding about on superlative spreadsheets. And it's just like, this is the reason why I picked this article, because I think this article and this guy, this fucking Steven Pinker, who is like, maybe, along with Malcolm Gladwell, maybe like the sort of the most sort of airport book, like popular quote unquote thinker for like modern liberalism. And what you are witnessing here is just the death of this as an ideology. Because if their greatest soldier is this guy, then this is so cooked. This is a cooked ideology. Yeah.
But at the same time, if your mark of success is that as being on the shelf next to Jeremy fucking Clarkson's written down thoughts, like what mileage did it have in the first place?
But because genuinely, like, if you see this, right, it's like, oh, I'm a liberal. I'm never certain of anything until the fucking evidence tells me so. Like, the arc of human history bends towards progress and good things and da. And you're so unlikable and you're so fucking annoying to interview. And when they do let you speak, it's like, we've read like 6 paragraphs now, and like she's only quoted him like in an almost full sentence once from an hour-long interview. That's the best she could drag out of this fucking cunt. And it's like,
well, technically 3 times, because there was that one quote that he used twice.
Yeah, but he was quoting Bertrand Russell there. It was not his original work.
But he said it.
For someone so unwilling to indulge in absolutisms, Donald Trump almost gets him there. Him and every fucking other liberal online. He talks to me about the counter-enlightenment trends we are observing in American politics, and Trump's total subversion of the Protestant ethics that used to cohere the nation's social fabric.
Again, which fucking ethics are those? Which ones?
Yeah,
tell me which they are.
Were those the ones that caused the United States to invade better part of 100 countries in the decades after the Second World War? Were those the ones that were cohering the nation together? Were those
all the
good?
All the manifest destiny that murdered most of the Native American population, drove them out and fucking despoiled the landscape. That was all good before it became gauche. Yeah. Before it became uncouth.
So all of the good Protestant ethics then, yeah. Okay, cool.
Where is it coming from? The answer, as you might expect by now, is complicated, he says. A confluence of unique and random historical factors plus the personality of the individual man. So everything and nothing. What creates Trump, we ask of one of liberalism's genuinely most, regarded or cited or whatever, thinkers. Where does Trump come from? The answer is complex. It's a confluence of unique and random factors. It's like, okay, that's because you can't answer the question with the real answer, which is it came from liberalism. It came from the liberalism of the 90s and the 2000s and into the 2010s. That's where Donald Trump comes from. Or his rise, whatever.
History was switched off there, actually, so that's not true.
Actually, shit, sorry, I'm wrong. But there are reasons to think a lot of it might be associated with the observable decline in literacy across the rich West. You stop reading, and now we have Donald Trump. This is your fault.
Yeah, I wonder if it's...
Read a book, not that one.
Yeah, man, like, liberalism definitely hasn't had a tendency to, like, just cozy up to capital rather than providing public services to people who actually need it. You know, the people who would otherwise have been in schools learning, those schools become more and more dilapidated, and because of, like, you know, segregation and the ensuing racism once segregation was formally ended, yeah, man, like, it's probably just completely unexplainable. Just people are reading less, and that's bad. And that's the only thing that we can quantify is literacy rates.
Yeah, and now we get into the thing that he really loves to do, apart from, you know, vague pronouncements and bullshit, which is whine about, you know, the kids today. This is a well-indexed trend, and Pinker can provide his own data. He has not adjusted the level of reading he demands from his students, but students complain more now about the workload than they did before. And he detects a diminished appetite for abstract thinking among them.
Oh, right, so he's he's essentially outright admitting that he's not a scientist here, because the first thing you should know as a scientist is that the plural of anecdote is not data.
Yeah, but, you know, like I say, this guy whining about students is like a fucking, you know, standard part of his bit, essentially. When Donald Trump lost the 2020 elections, Steven Pinker and his wife, the novelist Rebecca Goldstein, filmed themselves dancing in their home. But
yeah, I mean, I can believe that, because liberals everywhere thought that was the end of it, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There we go. That was a blip on the radar, but we beat him in an election where, like, our guy had to fucking lie his way across the line, and, you know what I mean, then turn around and, like, screwed everyone on the money he'd promised them and all this sort of stuff. And but that's it. Dust's hands comically. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's it. Settled forever. And
his
then
response
4 years later, just to prove they hadn't learned any lessons at all, rather than actually, like, fucking trying to win against Donald Trump, they just settled for, like, fucking, you know, getting the fucking Cheneys on stage and, like, refusing to fucking listen to anyone's concerns about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember all those people walking past the protesters at the DNC with the fingers in their ears? Like, fucking, oh, no, we can't hear you talking about the genocide. Like,
la, 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 ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fucking they were all laughing. It was such a good fucking jape and everything. Like, because liberalism was ascendant again, how could Kamala Harris possibly lose the election? Well, it turns out by being fucking shit. There you go. You know what I mean? She just got the Clinton playbook and just fucking, like, pile drived it into the Earth's core. Like, fucking incredible. Once more with feeling.
The second election of Trump in 2024 flabbergasted Pinker. He cites Trump's first election.
What did I just get done saying?
Yeah, I know. He cites Trump's first election in 2016 as the moment that that events seem to spin out of coherence. You know, before 2016, the world made sense to this guy and also to liberalism, to the Davos set, to these, like, fucking pricks.
Trump won in 2016, and all the liberals put brunch aside to, like, rage about the dang Cheeto in the White House, and more importantly, scolded all of their lessers to tell them they'd voted wrong. And then Biden won in 2020, so they assumed that scolding had worked, because no one's going to engage with material conditions. Is that how you say that? Like, yes. No one's going to fucking, like, look at any of that and draw, like, any kind of conclusion. It was all down to the fact that liberals united as one to call people a basket of deplorables or whatever the fuck. And, like, you know what I mean? Talk down to them. And that settled the matter forever. So obviously they were fucking, like, just shocked and appalled when it turned out that, like, you know, the scolding didn't take.
Well, so yeah, and now they have to keep doing it, because otherwise they'd have to say that they were wrong, and this guy can't be wrong because he doesn't have ideology. He simply has fucking he's made of
Common
pure
sense.
spreadsheets. So how could this fucking guy possibly be wrong?
I mean, it's taking, 10 paragraphs to essentially bloviate about a glorified propagandist for neoliberalism. Like, what? Why? I know it's because, this is from, the New Statesman, so it's, the darling of liberals everywhere. And, he says nothing of substance here. He says that he's for good things, in the abstract, progress is good, intelligence or whatever the fuck. But, when you actually try and quantify what progress is, it's violence has gone down. Well, measuring the ways violence actually happens to people, on the whole, a lot of it isn't being shot in the street by a random person. Are you quantifying cops shooting people in the street as part of your violence, Steven Pinker? I highly doubt that's quantifiable in your ideology.
Yeah, but it's also it's so empty. This is so empty. This is why was 2015 a coherent time for you? What or 2014 or 2010 or 2008 or 2004, the Iraq War, Second Iraq War. Why was that? Why was that a coherent time for you? And it's just because you thought, I mean, I know Fukuyama since retracted all that stuff, but because you simply thought that you were at the end of history and all you had to do was write more brain books about how slowly over time we stopped murdering each other with some of the worst and most questionable writing and science behind it. It's just not even Pinker's
In many
voluminous.
ways, he's like the political equivalent of Evo Psych, really, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Making shit up and going I reckon this is true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he calls himself a fucking scientist, and Karl Marx sat down and wrote voluminously about linen coats and the immortal science of Marxism-Leninism, although Marxism at the time, it is observing reality. How do you make a coat? What goes into making a coat? Something that is essentially a simple question, but then sitting down and writing about where this stuff comes from, why these things are being made in a certain way, and then coming up with, it turns out, quite an accurate description of capitalism. That's just total anathema to the vacuity of Steven Pinker, who just writes books for liberals who want to wank themselves to sleep at night, knowing that things were actually better in 2015 when we could all go to fucking brunch.
Yeah, but have you considered though, in Steven Pinker's favour, he looks like 6 Doctor Who's at once.
Not even Pinker's voluminous talent and erudition, nor that of his fellow liberal peers, could reckon with these cosmic forces.
Cosmic forces
Sorry,
or material forces, motherfucker?
What cosmic forces are these? Did I fucking zone out there and miss the bit where
the second Trump election?
Yeah, Donald Trump became president in 2024 because of solar radiation. Yeah, man, that's what fucking happened.
I completely forgot that point in the 2024 election where the Silver Surfer turned up to herald him. Yeah.
But it's also what are you talking about? Is
get
the
a
fact
real job.
The fact that you and Malcolm Gladwell fucking couldn't, whereas a bunch of fucking shit posters with nothing better to do on, a couple of social media websites could clearly see what was coming, screamed at you what was coming, and you said, no, I don't want to listen because that might mean I have to acknowledge Palestinians as human beings. And I don't feel like that today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, why would you engage with the material concerns of the people whose votes you want when you could just make it clear that post-election you were going to scream at them forever about you did this? Not voting for fucking Harris is exactly the same thing as voting for Trump. And it's okay, but if you didn't vote for Trump, that by the application of your much vaunted logic, not voting for Trump is the same as voting for Harris. So the two, you could argue, cancel each other out.
Yeah. It's just... And what do you... she says, not even Pinker's voluminous talent and erudition, but if he is so talented and erudite, why not quote him more in all these paragraphs? Why do we only get like a bare glimpse of the sentences this man utters, and you keep having to say, actually, he's brilliant, but like his thoughts are too complex to put on paper? Maybe he is just a fucking bullshit artist, but you're so blinded by, getting to meet your fave that like you can't see it.
Maybe
he's
she's getting paid by the word.
Yeah.
Maybe, Rob, maybe you need to buy the book.
I found Pinker someone reluctant to give a straight answer on small questions, no matter all that data, fame, and institutional support. Perhaps we should not be surprised that he doesn't have any answer to the big ones. So he's
an intellectual with no answers, so a fucking self-important sack of shit who pumps out a bunch of books for preening liberals. Cool.
This guy is just piss flaps with a job. Like, you know what I mean? You can't pin him down to a fucking like an opinion on anything, because that would make him give a position that could be countered with like facts. So never do that. You know what I mean? Never plant your flag anywhere, because then people will try and take it.
Like, come on! And again, I return to sort of my central thesis about this whole article. It's like, if this is liberalism's strongest, like, intellectual soldier, one of the people that, like, gets cited over and over again in, and what he says as well, I was like, oh, I love the Enlightenment and liberalism and progress and all that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, he doesn't have any answers to the big questions of the age. It's like, then why do you...
What are you for?
What are you doing here? Like, can you not see
He's
that the
here
thing...
to complain about his students?
But also her, like, if this is what you're... what's the fucking thing again from No Country for Old Men? Like, if the rule
this, then what use was the rule?
Yeah.
If the ideology that brought you to this brought you here, of what use was the ideology? Like, what... Like, this is like fucking, will the last big-brained liberal, turn out the lights in Britain. Like, this is so empty. You give this woman, I don't know, fucking, what is it? I would say 1,000 words, maybe a bit less, maybe 800. And you give him all the chances to talk, and you get an interview with this fucking guy an hour long in an airless, windowless room, so this fucking guy can't escape.
You're entering the Steven Pinker cube.
And your answer in the second to last paragraph is, maybe we should be surprised he has no answers.
Yeah. But on the plus side, he looks like Brian May drank out of the wrong grail, so he's got that going for him.
It's just like...
Maybe she just couldn't hear the things he was saying over all the moans coming from the inspiration booth next door.
I mean, this is genuinely like the fucking abyss staring back at you shit. Like, this is just, Anyway, last paragraph. In spite of his steadfast aversion to Trump and his robust defense of liberal centrism... Pinker told The Guardian in 2021 that he was not an ideologue. Because, liberalism isn't an ideology, it's simply fact and logic.
Yeah.
David, can we get the buzzer? Is this the new keyboard?
That buzzer sounds different than what I remember.
I put it to him now. I am the last person to judge, he caveated, of course. But I try not to be. It's almost by definition a negative term. I don't think anyone would take ideologue as a compliment, he goes on. I would.
There's some
I'm
other
fine with it.
non-complimentary phrases for you as well, mate.
He tries to keep his assessments of reality free from an agenda.
I am a perfectly spherical, frictionless sphere in an empty room, and that is the room that you will find Steven Pinker in.
Like, this isn't possible. This is just like, this this is just a denial of material reality. It's like my brain just free floats through the world without ideology, like all material concerns. So, what are you? Shut the fuck up! And if that were true, why are you whining about the fact that your students don't read so many books as they used to, or they're woke now or whatever? Like, why?
I mean, let's be real. If anyone actually had no ideology, they would just repeat the same thing they heard the last person they spoke to say. Like,
yes, it's called liberalism.
That's
That's your average Guardian reader.
I mean, like this. I mean, this guy's a fucking liberal ideologue through and through. Like, it's just so risible that they pass off this like nothing. This like waft of hot air in 1,000 words or whatever to come to what conclusion? That this guy likes to put a lot of caveats in the things that he says, and he doesn't like Trump very much. Also, he has a wife. Did you know? And like what?
I mean, whether or not wife guy is an ideology is, I think, the subject for maybe next week's podcast. But but check this shit out. He tries to keep his assessments of reality free from an agenda, though he accepts that he will inevitably fail sometimes. And, quote, "It's not that I don't have values. It's not that I am a person without moral conviction," he adds. So if you do have values and you do have moral conviction, then your assessment of reality is not free from agenda, because you're just literally like every other fucking person on this planet. Because that's what it means to be human. Just
I mean, the next line is fucking incredible. I am left scratching my head. Getting into the windowless room with Steven Pinker so he can have the same effect on me as the orb of confusion from SpongeBob SquarePants.
I am left scratching my head. Pinker has identifiable faith in science and reason, and an observable distaste for those who fail to venerate both. I suspect we might need to put this one down to a semantic distinction. And that's this.
Fuck you, Steven Pinker.
Fuck you, Steven Pinker. And quite frankly, also fuck you, Finn McRedmond, because unless you wrote this like as a very deep cut piss take and I've misread it, I'm almost willing to take it that far. But this is the New Statesman, so I'm not, because the New Statesman doesn't hire people who are clever enough to write like that. If this is what liberalism has left, in the New Statesman, which is like pretty much, what used to be maybe soft left, but is now just like a house magazine for liberalism. And this guy, at the end of it, is just like, he doesn't have any answers. He's just there. He's just vibing.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand anything anymore.
Juice,
maybe he actually never did.
If he doesn't have the juice, liberals will just have to fall back on telling people twice as hard to enjoy the camps, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway,
it's no
that's
surprise that this guy's vein of thought is the one that does advocate for crackdowns on freedom of speech and protest, and also all of the other horrible crimes that neoliberal governments across the world are inflicting on their populations. So, like, yeah. You won. Like, you might, and like, don't cry because you got what you wanted, you prick.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's your lot for this week. We hope you have enjoyed this. Another delightful episode of Podcasting as Praxis. You can get more two whole bonus episodes a month, plus our cheese dipping Discord over at patreon.com/praxiscast for only £5 a month. There's t-shirts at praxiscast.tmail.com and other, it's getting cold, so maybe buy a hoodie. So, because the flesh disgusts you. We don't sell, metal replacement parts yet, but one day soon.
Hey, you might if you join the Discord.
Yeah. And I don't know if we're doing streams and shit again.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we were meant to, but then we forgot. So they'll be starting back up again this week, optimistically.
Yeah, hopefully this week, yeah.
Thursday? Yeah.
Thursday and
if this comes out on Thursday...
Thursdays and Sundays, maybe. So.
Yeah. Just keep an eye out on our Blue Sky, which is the praxiscast.bluesky.social. Whatever. I can't remember that one.
Anyway, bye.
Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Bye.